Jason, we're the Table Monkeys, and today we are going to do another match analysis, and this will be the final one of Devin versus Michael before they have their trilogy match.
Yeah, this is their last time their hands have touched.
Yeah.
This was 2020. The last time before that was 2018.
It's like the trilogy teaser.
Yeah,
it's like it is their third meeting, but it's not a real meeting.
Yeah, it's just one round in a garage, out of the blue.
Yeah, there's not a lot really to take from this match as far as like how they're going to show up in less than 2 weeks now. It's what is it, 10 days or
12 days?
12 days.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Most people know the context behind this day.
Yeah.
Michael had just finished the BFR circuit, hard workout for Gigi's channel, so he was obviously putting on a show.
And Devin was just in the middle of training, like regularly, and then traveled to I think this was in North Carolina or something like that.
Yeah.
But wherever he was traveling for like 2 days before he got here, so he's maybe a little bit fresher, but he's also jet lagged and tired from the travel. But like Alex said, Michael just did a workout, so he's definitely more fatigued. So if you want to take anything contextually from this match, it might be like this is if Devin's power really does come through, if the pancakes do work and all the maple syrup, then this might be what it looks like if Devin is gonna come in with more power than Michael. If you remember our analysis from their match in 2018, card up in the window, we talked about how Devin really talks about it being his riser.
Yeah, not his endurance. A lot of people thought that it was endurance that cost him that match, but really it was efficiency of position. And Devin's riser was gone immediately in the first round, and he was forced to arm wrestle in compromised positions, which just drained him a lot faster than Michael.
Yeah, so even though fatigue may have played a factor in the end, it was the fact that he wasn't strong enough with his riser in the very beginning that he believes is what led him to lose the match. Even though he won round one, he feels like that's when he actually lost the match, because by the end of that round, his riser was gone. Well, when we analyze this match, one thing that'll be prevalent throughout the whole thing is that Devin's pretty much able to maintain his riser. So again, if Devin comes in with as much power as he wants, this might be somehow how it looks. Devin also doesn't expect it to only be one round at this point. He's hoping that they're going to go like 100 times and just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, so you can assume that Devin isn't trying to pin when he could probably pin Michael in this round.
Which we'll mention as we're doing the analysis. And since it's just one round, we're just going to play it in slow motion and just analyze it as we go. We'll stop when we need to, and we'll throw up the diagrams with the hill to show you where they're bouncing around, because there's a lot of dancing in this match.
So here we go.
Let's go. Alright guys, so there was obviously a lot of fucking around before this, but this is the only part that really matters, so we are going to get right to the ready go.
There you go, close your thumbs.
Close your hands and go. Michael gonna hit King's move hard as fuck. Huge elbow foul. That will not fly with the rules that they're pulling with in Dubai. Let's note that right off.
7x7 pads.
Yeah, which is what these are, so that would have clearly been a foul. But at this point, with the new rules, which Devin just put out, this would be a runner at this point, right?
Yes.
That would have been a stoppage. That wasn't like a Beijing style, you know. Yeah. Okay, so Devin's, you're saying we're calling this high hook.
It looked like Devin was trying to hold a high hook position from center table and just paid what Michael was taking. Yeah. And tried to hold position. And you're going to see him transition to his own King's move.
Yeah, but at this point, he's still kind of doing the same thing that he did in 2018, the same thing he did in 2011, which is fighting kind of like T1, H1 area, like fighting for height and trying to maintain the fundamentals that he can. But as they go, as Alex says, he kind of starts to adapt, and eventually he's going to end up in his own King's move. So Michael King's move, Devin still high hook. You can see him trying to hold that riser as much as possible.
Arguable if Mike's on the pad, but he comes back on there now. He's
so
holding that dragon combination.
Yeah,
maybe two.
Yeah, and Devin now, right about here, you can see him start to, I guess, if people are saying it's the end of his range, that defines it.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with all that either, but either way. This is near the end of his range, and definitely where he's transitioned to full King's move. So this is King's move, and it's definitely working for him. His riser's holding up, his pronation's holding up. Michael definitely looking for a different position.
Yep, you can see him bring his shoulder up now.
Yeah.
And then he's using his offensive king's move to get some hits in there
Yeah.
with a little drag and pronation.
Yeah.
But he's ready to transition to his press quicker if he needs to.
Yeah, so I would say that Devin's winning the King's Move battle at this moment, and they just had a little rise battle there, and they're about to have another one, and he wins both of those.
Yeah, you can see Michael's riser just kinked down a little bit here, and just because of
Devin gets this regrip, and that's where he gets a huge amount. At this point here, Devin probably feels really in control, and this is where, if this was the real match, I don't know, he doesn't always go for a finish, he's always looking to burn the guy out, but I don't know that that's going to necessarily be the right call with Michael in this match.
So right there, Michael telegraphed the press, and Devin just dragged and cupped him out of it, back into his high hook. He's always trying to win the center table game, win the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And a lot of this match is about the regripping at the center table and fighting for height, and there they go again.
And Devin wins that one again. You can see Devin's clearly got the high game.
You can see his long forearm is beating Mike's post in that because of all the extra leverage.
Yeah. Starts to pop to the side a bit. Mike gives one back. Mike again is going to try to come up for a press eventually. They're going to fight for the height, but Devin has really got that under control at this point.
Yep.
And then you see Michael's offensive King's move stops almost in the center of the table.
Yep.
And as far as shoulder goes, Mike's really good this whole time. If his shoulder's below the table, his hand is on his side of the table.
Yep.
As soon as his hand's neutral or losing, you see his shoulder come up just like that right there. But now he's actually trying to get his shoulder in the match. He's trying to get behind
slowly bringing it up.
Yeah.
Holding some side pressure so Devin can't hit.
Yeah.
But he's still maintaining his drag and pronation as if he was in the King's move.
And Devin is more dancing between a high hook and a King's move now. Like when Michael hits, he goes King's move, but when he's holding offensively or like trying to hold his position, he's clearly trying to hold like a high hook, right?
Yeah.
And his hits would probably be like high hooks to the side.
Yeah. They'll pop there, and then Devin or Mike jumps up for a P1. Devin quickly drags and cups him out of it and applies a lot of down pressure. Michael wasn't able to get his shoulder behind his hand and transitions back to a King's move, but this time his hand is a lot more compromised.
Yes, this is where Devin's probably trying to bleed him out. It's clear right here with how much Devin's got his hand that he could probably jump on top of that and press, but again, Michael's so good at getting behind his hand.
Yeah.
You see Devin kind of come up there and show it, like, hey, you better know that that's there.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think Devin's just trying to keep the match going at this point. He's definitely not trying to finish.
Yeah, but then Michael transitions back to the King's move. They start the regrip battle again, and once again you can see Devin beating him up there, climbing, swallowing his entire thumb.
And then at this point, Devin's got his cup initiated. He's kind of got Michael's wrist bent down, and Michael's actually supinated, which is apparently not easy to get there, right? So this is where he really just goes all in and commits to the press and getting behind his arm. Obviously holding with that lock a little bit, and the way that he's able to just let his body fucking hold positions that are just crazy.
Yeah, so here we go.
This point, boom, gets behind it. And this is what's so dangerous, is that as hard as he is to get through near the pin pad, if he gets behind his arm from almost any position, it's bad news. And even though he didn't get through Devin there, that took a lot of energy for Devin to hold that off. And that's really just the same way as his King's move at the very end of its range. It's really just structural for Michael there.
But he transitions back to the King's move again, and his hand is just getting swallowed up by Devin.
Yeah.
The King's move with the lane isn't working for Michael here.
But it's still forcing Devin to fight. Like, Devin's still got to do something about that. If Devin if he rests too much there and Michael can get anything back in his King's move position, Devin's in a bad position.
Mike's endurance is it's so crazy to think that he had a crazy workout before this and he's still able to fight that hand out for this long.
Yeah, it's actually insane. And now when he jumps behind his press this time, and again, you can see the whole time he's only going to the King's move to create a distraction in order to either fatigue Devin or get Devin's arm out of position enough that he can get behind his hand like that.
Yeah.
And this time he's actually connected. Devin lets out his big scream because he can feel that connection.
And he drags his elbow off the pad because it's the only way he can resist for a little bit longer.
So again, now with the new rules, this would be running foul. He'd have to get his elbow back on the pad. That'd be another running foul. So it's either going to end on fouls because Devin can't get his elbow back on the pad, or Devin's going to have to put his elbow on the pad and allow his arm to be pinned because it's clear that that's why he can't hold his elbow on the pad.
Yeah, well, that's if Mike can slip without making it look intentional, right?
Yeah, well, that's a whole other factor. I mean, we should do another video later just on the rules because they're going to be really interesting.
Yeah. But Devin did get his elbow back on the pad, eventually dragged it off again.
Yeah.
And Michael keeps adjusting, trying to get his elbow tucked inside his body using drag, and then repositioning his shoulder behind his hand. Yeah. And finally, on this drive, brings them down to the ping pad.
And his ability to press is just it's pretty crazy, and it's just the ability that he has to get behind it, like the position that he got behind his arm there, is just nuts.
It's the thing that King's moving floor presser on the opposite sides of the hill, but he can transition so smoothly between the two. Yeah, even holding in between.
Yeah. He's got some weird positions on his hill that I don't even know what to call them. But that's the match.
So what do you guys think? Is it going to turn out like this on the 28th, or is Michael's power just going to be too much for Devin, even though he's eating copious amounts of pancakes?
And drinking lots of maple syrup. Yeah. I mean, like we said, there is, how much can we really take from this match? Again, I think it does have, if Devin comes in strong enough, this might be somewhat how it looks. You have to factor in how fatigued Michael was, but then take into account that the match was almost on Michael's side of the table the whole time. Devin had some opportunities that we noted where he may have been holding back a bit in order to lengthen out the match. Yeah. But Michael was extremely offensive the entire time.
Devin was never trying to be offensive, and we know how strong Mike is at being defensive. So he never even got to experience that side of the table and see what that was like, even when Mike was fatigued.
But to take into account as well, this is also almost a year ago now when this actually happened. If not,
was it October, I think?
1 second.
September.
So 7 months ago exactly was when this match happened, and in the past, this past training cycle for Devin, if you've been watching his videos, you'll know that he talks about how he's definitely training differently as far as his style. He is much less defensive, much less patient and waiting on the table, and being much more aggressive and attacking. Yeah. And I think that's definitely something we haven't seen that is going to play out on the 28th. Is that we're going to see a lot more of an attack style from Devin. I don't think you're going to see him wait on an opportunity. I think if any of those opportunities that he had to come up and press and keep Michael away from his press and get on top of his arm with his newfound pancake frame, Devin is definitely going to be looking to lay that frame down on that cage.
Yeah, but obviously Michael Top is preparing for Levon and has had a longer time to train for that match, as Devin took some time off because of his thrombosis.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're not going to hide our bias. We're obviously big Devin fans and we want him to win.
But we want to see a great match either way. And I think one thing that's another factor that Alex just mentioned is that Michael was preparing for Levon. And bottom line is that Levon is definitely, as many pancakes as Devin has been eating, he's not coming in as heavy as Levon. So Michael should have the power to deal with whatever power Devin's bringing to the table, but then it comes into table IQ and Devin's ability to know, in arm wrestling, it really comes down to knowing what it is your opponent wants and how to take that away from them. The more we arm wrestle, the more we realize how true that point really is.
And no one knows like that. No one knows that like Devin.
Yeah.
And he is definitely Michael's biggest threat to that hammer position.
And I think Michael's very aware of that. That's why he's made that point. And in reality, Michael's the one that has everything to lose. Devin doesn't have a lot to lose. It's going to be an interesting match. We hope you all have paid for it, bought the pay-per-view, support.
Link will be in the bio or description.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Hook that up.
So like the video, leave that feedback in the comments.
Subscribe, smash the bell, all those things.
And monkeys out.
Peace.